Ready? All right.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Emerald Park Landfill Standing Committee for April 9th at 5:11 p.m. Would the secretary please read the roll?
Sure. Rebecca Mateo.
Here.
Don Matita.
Here.
Senior, sorry. Roland Kiefer.
Here.
Excellent. Patrick Murray.
Absent and excused.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Mark Slocum.
Here.
Alderman Eileen Madden.
Here.
Michael Cowling.
Here.
Excellent. Harvey Schweitzer. Here. Excellent. Greg Burmeister.
Nope.
Nope. We got Mike Hackney. No.
Nope.
Brett Coogan.
Yep.
Yep. And Joe Spear Jr.
Here.
And
Tyler Field with Cornerstone.
Okay.
Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with Wisconsin open meeting laws.
Okay, approval of the January 8th meeting. How do you wish to move?
I move to approve.
second.
Corrections, addition, discussion? On hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are accepted unanimously. Open forum. We have none at this time. Okay, if there's no objection from the committee, I would like to drop down to new business for Captain Simonchek to speak regarding the previous year's police fire reviews.
Again, thank you very much. It's spoken to Alderman, and a couple months back, I wanted to touch base. I have nothing really specific to discuss, other than wanted to make sure that everything pretty much went okay last year. I'd rather talk about it up front rather than get a call from any of the members. And again, maybe touch on a couple things I would ask. So I'm assuming if I didn't hear anything throughout the last year, there were no major issues. Make sure you would have brought it to my attention.
I think I called once because there was a time when I saw the orange cones out and the gate was open a lot. And I wasn't sure what was going on because I know you guys weren't usually out there that much. But my questions were answered quickly. It was
And I believe
good.
that time,
Yep.
I made notes that
okay.
Milwaukee they were behind in their sighting of new rifles, and they asked if they could ask for more time, and we accommodated them. They were well within their time. Last year, actually, I believe, according to my records, the range was used 55 times.
Yeah.
The FBI has not really asked to use their allotted dates of 30. Milwaukee was a little above their allotted dates of 25. I think they went up a couple dates of 27. WCT was at 10. I think we only used. Ours are a little fabricated a little bit. It says 8, but those are 8 full days. I think the committee was nice enough to accommodate us for training new officers if we needed to arrange for an hour here out there. And we did, do that. Again, I assume that if there was any problems with that, we would have been told. So
Yeah, no,
our goal is not to abuse anything.
No.
And again, anytime we're going to ask for anything crazy outside of the 103 days or the hours, it's right here. I was going to touch base. Is there any wiggle room maybe with the 5 o'clock on weekdays in the summer?
Yeah,
it's just an hour, but sometimes it makes a little bit of a difference to facilitate getting more people on range. We are such a young department right now. Our average patrol officer, and those are the officers on the road, average less than 3 years on.
Yeah, I thought we talked at the last time you were in about having some night shooting so they could practice after hours and stuff too. So
we did move that.
Oh, okay.
It allowed us to start like earlier at 6
Okay.
a.m. It's that September through
Gotcha.
April, which you allow some flexibility. Now this would be May through August.
Oh,
It's
okay.
supposed to be like 6 AM to 5 PM. So no more shooting after 5 PM, Monday through Thursday, during the summer months.
So you wanted to extend
If
that
we could go another hour again
to 6?
to 6, if you want to talk about it or whatever, it's just.
Yeah, I
it
don't
helps a little
see,
bit Just to try to get some.
Looking for input from the people that are the closest.
yeah.
There isn't that much noise comes off of it.
Yeah, I don't hear them either.
I would say that blue call makes more noise than the shooting does.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I don't have a problem, but I'm a little further away.
And they don't have backup bells?
Yeah.
No, it's not. The shooting range is not an issue.
Yeah.
I guess the question would be is the berm they had worked on reworked a year ago or?
Oh, it's more than that, but yes, that has been corrected.
Holding up or?
So far, I wouldn't be surprised within a couple, we might have to address it again.
If you look through the window, you can see the backside of it. So it has had a little bit of slope
It has
failure.
been, yes, it's been. It might be sooner than that.
Just you. Yeah.
So,
So you can't have any shooting events when you're having a meeting.
we will. All right, no shooting on
Right.
Monday
It
afternoon.
has worked in all since it's.
I think I mentioned also, one more thing, I believe. We do get hit up to use the range once in a while. Last Franklin had trouble, or they had been denied access to their range. I think it's the Racine County range. They asked if they could borrow our range for a couple days.
We're not so much concerned, at least that's my opinion, we're not so much concerned about what municipality is using it under your supervision. Is right now staying within the 105 days. So if you can juggle that, I don't think there's an issue, but
And it doesn't look like we're.
Yeah, I think-
We're almost, except minus those couple hours here and there,
Right.
which I think we're on the same page with that.
How does it affect Brett? Operation?
No, it doesn't bother us at all.
Oh, good. Do we have to vote on
for you.
Unless we're on the understanding that, again, my goal is not to have an influx of other departments come in and use the range. I'll be honest with you, I'm not trying to be selfish, but we have a set amount of agencies that are vying for these dates, and I don't wanna jeopardize our time or the other jurisdictions that have already been granted permission. So, again, the Franklins of the world who are in a pinch, I wouldn't mind being allowed to at least give them, with the understanding that they, scratch my back, I'll scratch your type mentality,
Sure.
which is usually the case. If that's not gonna be a problem, and we fall within the allotted 305 days, I can maybe offer them up a few days, and they'd be greatly appreciated. And then come if we need something from Franklin.
No, but if it's within the 105 days.
Yeah, as long as.
I mean, you should be able to, you're in charge of the range, and if you stay within the
Yeah, I'm not
105
gonna
days.
Upset the apple cart. You guys have been good to us, and my goal is to be the same in return, so if you guys are okay with that, then.
I think it's fine as long as we know who it is, that it's not all of a sudden it's Brookfield and it's whomever.
Again, it's under the city
Yeah.
of Muskego, and they call the shot on it. From my perspective.
Yeah, you guys you manage it quite well. I don't have an issue with you divvying out when need be.
Didn't wanna just assume, so that's kinda where I was at. Again, I don't wanna use it, I don't wanna tap into our time here, because it sometimes can be, who's who and first come, first served. So that is pretty much what I wanted to talk to the committee about. I guess I'll just assume that we're gonna be good with allowing maybe a department or two, as long as we fall within our allotted dates. Any problems, I'll be advised, I'm sure.
Yep.
I appreciate your time with that. very much so.
I would just request that none of the departments use automatic weapons. That gets the attention of people when you start to hear that.
I agree, I understand.
I think the FBI did it once.
Yeah, they did, and it did, I do remember some
And
phone
so
calls.
where do you go to practice automatic weapons?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd
The
have
FBI
a,
issue.
Well, again,
Well, I'm just asking, what is the alternative?
well, there's other outdoor ranges or indoor ranges.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not talking about the 3-shot burst. I'm
No,
talking
you're
about,
talking
you
full
know,
automatic.
full automatics when they were dumping round clip after clip out of them, magazine after magazine, at 30, 50 rounds. They were having a good time.
I bet you they'd give you a headache.
There's only a few agencies
Gives you a headache if you're
that have
firing
that
it, that
capability
thing.
to get advertised. That's probably one of them. We do have 3-shot bursts, at least the skid team does.
It's not a problem.
Just, all right.
Very
Again,
good.
I appreciate it. And again, I'll advise, and then if anything changes, as a courtesy, I'll just say, hey, Franklin, we're gonna let them use the range on a few dates in August, just so
Okay.
you're aware.
Yeah, and there's, yeah, and there's no problem with the extra hour either on those.
Great.
He said charge Franklin, they got money.
Or 2 for 1 on ammunition.
They bring their own.
Well, they bring their own, but every
Yeah,
shot they
one for
fire,
you,
they
one for
need
us,
2.
one for-
Oh, yeah, well, you know, that's scratch my back, I scratch yours. That usually is actually some of the payback, some ammunition, so. It works out for everyone.
Yep.
Anything else that you would like to see adjusted or would be more beneficial to the department?
Again, not to abuse it, you guys have allowed us the flexibility with, especially that training, hour here, hour there, and not count towards the dates. Again, not to abuse it, but that does help us a lot, because we have some officers that need a little extra, and to tap into a day's worth of time wouldn't help us at all, but it helps the officers.
How many new ones do we have now? That's what I thought.
It's, like I said, Barrett,
Yeah, I know they are.
If you're talking 3 years or
we
less.
have 2 in the academy right now.
Okay,
A couple just came out. We stole one from Fort Atkinson.
okay.
He's a 6-year vet, so hopefully he'll go through field training real quick.
Oh,
We stole a guy from Washington County, not a season, but hopefully he'll go through the system.
I hear there's one in Kenosha that wants to come back.
Yeah, well, he might, but he can't.
I know, I'm just, I know.
How many officers are there now on the
We
force?
were approved to hire 2 more, so when we're full staff, it'll be 39. And we just added a new detective. When I first started, we had 2, and we got rid of 1, and made it part-time. Now we'll have 2 full-time, and then we're also gonna have 1 back in Metro, so. way overdue.
Definitely.
It's really busy.
Cool.
Again, thank you very much for letting me go first, and I appreciate you hearing me out. And I hope you don't mind if I don't get to look over some of these beautiful.
Oh, I'll send it home with you.
You
I
take
I will take one on the way out.
And you know what? You know how to find me if you have questions.
I know where you are.
You know how to find me.
You guys, thank you very much for your time.
You bet.
All right,
Have
thank
a
you.
good night.
All right, take care, everyone.
Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Oh, you're all talking, I can. No, that's good. That's good. Appreciate it. Take care.
I'm emailing it to you tomorrow.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
As long as he doesn't take that party.
Did you park in the electrical vehicle only spot?
Yep. Right. I'll put a plug in there.
Where's
Okay,
the
compliance
elephant
officer
sitting anywhere
report.
once?
Since the last meeting, we've conducted weekly audits. Really, the only thing that stands out is we've had 3 odor complaints since the last meeting. 2 in the morning and 1 in the evening, all along 8 Mile Road. I, of course, talked about it with Brett. They're either during the time that they're stripping back the cover to place new waste or at the end of the day when they're covering. There haven't been any other complaints. It's only one complaint.
Where's
So
the
it
complaint, where's the complaint
was-
come from?
Me,
Yeah, on 8 Mile Road.
when I go down that road in the morning,
Oh my God.
they are closed. Trust me.
We've experienced odors on site during audits, but not
You're not
off site.
allowed to complain.
Uh,
Was it November, or when was the last meeting? It was between.
January.
January.
January, okay, it was since January. There was one warm, wet day, and I'm up in Champions Village. I got up in the morning and I went out to get the paper, I thought, got a little whiff.
It smelled like a landfill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
that's what landfills usually
I
smell
know, I
like.
understand. Isn't that, see, that's not really a complaint, I just said I got a whiff, and I thought, oh, the landfill.
Well,
I know what it is.
If you had called me and told me, then it would have been coming to complaint.
Oh, okay.
And that one time, I think I went down I went down the other way, and it was
Yeah.
more on that side than it was on this side. Because then he told me, he says, you need to go all the way
So
around,
every
see
time I
what
get a
side
whiff,
it's
I'm
coming.
supposed to call you?
Well,
Did.
They won't let me come out and drive around, so.
You just gotta look at the flags on the shells.
Yes.
You know it's gonna smell.
Well, and, you know, Waste Management has nice flags too, so on the tell
Yeah.
you which way it's going.
Yeah.
And I've had similar comments with Waste Management, because when Eileen's not right behind this facility, I kind of have to accept that it could be both, so.
Well, even with Eileen's issue, was that from here or was that from across the street or a combination of both? Do you have any sense?
Well, I would say that 2 of the complaints when she was on 8 Mile are probably from here, especially considering the fact that the waste was being placed in the new hole. And daily cover is met, but the aggressiveness of daily cover isn't as necessary when you're starting out. You know, you're down in the hole, the wind isn't
Yeah.
gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
You've got a lot less degradation. You know, I didn't go back and check if one of those complaints was when you had your leachate escape, that would explain it as well. So,
The other thing they had that was a bad odor was, I believe they turned that yard
The compost?
compost.
That smells.
but that's a specifically different odor than landfill. I mean, maybe I'm just the only one that feels that way. I mean, I
It should
used-
be and it
yeah.
can be, but if they leave it sit too long and it turns anaerobic, then it's just like the landfill or worse. I mean,
I
I've
was
experienced
informed
that
a
at home.
sweeter smell. So it was.
Sweeter than landfill.
Is-
Now-
and
Now, is that something you'd say to somebody, you're sweeter than landfill? I don't think so.
They told me.
who was the third complaint?
they're all Eileen.
Me. Who else is up at 6:30 in the morning?
Brett?
Not here,
Uncovered the landfill.
but
Yeah, they're
not here.
uncovering it, so when you drive by, huh?
Yes.
He's got a fan out there just for you.
Don't uncover till after I go by it.
We'll try to do our best.
Okay, I'll put a little question mark behind it.
And the other thing of merit is they had a leachate release in
February
March.
28th.
What was it?
February 28th.
Thank you. I should have written that down before I came down. It was a construction failure. The vault connection failed. Leachate was pumped out from underneath and it ended up in the drainage basin, and a little bit got passed, but nothing got off site. Everything's been corrected and cleaned up. DNR was notified.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me just a little bit.
Well, you know what? I'll pass that off to Brett and Tyler, because I just saw the cleanup. I wasn't here on the day that it failed.
What caused the failure?
There was, inside one of the vaults, a clamp was missing from the construction crew on a hose that connects to the force main from the vault coming out that let loose overnight. And so it was filling up the vault filled up and ended up going to the ditch line, which led to the set basin. When we got in the morning, we found it and shut it off. right away.
Okay, the set basin is strictly for stormwater.
Correct.
Okay, how far did that get? How much got released? Any guess?
I forgot what we said in the actual, and we don't know for sure because it happened overnight.
Sure.
But I don't remember what the,
It was probably, there was
Gallons
ice
set
in
up
the
there.
pond, there was probably
yeah.
less than 1,000 gallons released in total. It was
the
a
pond's
plumbing
control
failure within
structure
the
was
vault.
closed.
The vault is a secondary containment, however, pump kept running beyond the secondary containment's capacity. Overfilled the vault, went in the ditch, went into the pond. The pond's floodgate was closed, So it was all contained within the stormwater pond. But at the time, ice was melting, it mixed with the ice in the pond. No way of really telling the exact quantity released.
Yeah.
But
Well, how big is that vault?
The vault
it's
itself.
4 by 8.
I mean, how many gallons?
Oh, it's probably,
Do some calculations.
Oh, nice.
yeah, I don't know, it's
How big is it? 4 by what?
4 by 8 by about 5 feet deep.
Okay.
5 feet deep. And normal plumbing failures that would occur, that's usually enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But this was a complete failure of
Yeah.
the discharge hose.
So it was right off the pump,
Correct.
pushing it into the force main.
Correct, yep.
And the cleanup consisted of?
They had to clean the ditches, clean the pond, sampled downstream of the pond to show that it didn't get any escape. They had a large release, 2008, and where similarly it got into basin number 2. In this case, it's basin number 4. It's the new basin.
7.
7?
Yep.
7. I got to rename that thing right. Thank you very much. It required them to remove material from the base. They use a probe when the conductance shows at a lower rate, as it does in the clay that hasn't been contaminated. They've cleaned it. So that's how they treated it back in 2008.
Okay. And so that soil goes where?
In the landfill.
Okay.
And then we take soil samples in the lab to determine that the soil has been, after we scrape it out, that the soil is left as clean and free of contaminants. And once we get that, we send it to DNR and we get the okay.
And the basin was pumped back into the landfill as well.
All the contaminated water.
Okay, anything else on compliance officer report?
Nothing current, but I have the summary of the year of 2017.
Marcel?
So the culmination printing appears to be a little over $500. That seemed like an awful lot to bring that to the committee. When we originally started doing this, we didn't have large servers, CDs, and so on. So I put it on CD with the summary and produced the summary. I will gladly produce the printed version if you'd like it.
Printed version will be exactly what's on here, right?
Exactly. No change whatsoever.
Okay, and how many of these have been distributed?
I provided one to the landfill, I provided one to the city, and one to you.
Beautiful. Okay.
So,
I have a quick
Sure.
question. The one that the city gets, does that go to the library by any chance?
We just put it on the server, I can check.
Oh, you do put it on the server, so
Yeah.
anybody can have access to it from anywhere in the community. Okay, that's better, yeah. That's a big file, we want to just break it up.
I'll check with the IT people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I know I pulled it up and looked at it,
Yeah.
I know it's out there. I don't know how she puts it out there, but it's out there.
Okay,
well, we do provide you the web version as part of it. It's been reduced
Right.
for that. It's still 79K, 79,
Maybe that's.
79 meg, sorry,
79
my
meg,
apologies.
Because he puts,
But we had, 16 years worth on JSA's webpage, and then you guys decided that to meet the open document laws, you should provide it. So I think you've had no trouble doing it whatsoever.
yeah, okay. I know it's out there.
This will be the 18th annual report, or I'm sorry, the 19th. Next year will be the 20th. And in '98, we weren't doing audits, but we were involved with the city. In '99, the audit started. So of merit is the conditions of the working phases, and that it was unique in the last year that there was usually, 2 working phases. Once Phase 7 South was completed, and other than that, and now you'll see in the audits that Phase 7 North isn't being used while they're filling Phase 7 South. The cover material's been pretty much the same. There haven't been any changes in leachate. Gas monitoring management system, they've done improvements in 2017. They added new wells and they raised the wells that they had. coincides with some of the odor complaints in January, with the odor complaints they had and so on. Harvey came out for a tour and had the areas that we thought were potential odor issues shown to him, and they made corrections. Stormwater management, odor control, special odor control. Vehicle impacts, there's more and more potholes forming, they're patching them. I don't see it as a failure to respond or any kind of action item. And the last thing to point out is they actually had 2 rejected loads, which is, one rejected load is a very rare thing to occur in the industry now. One was a unmanifested load of soils, and the other was tires from the city of Waukesha, not the county, mind you.
Thank you for that.
And that's pretty much the summary of the summary. I mean, the landfill hasn't had any action items. Pretty much, other than the odor complaints, things have been running smoothly.
So city of Waukesha comes out with tires and they rejected them?
We can't take tires here.
Where'd they go with them?
Well, they probably went back and said, oh, you know, we took
Why
these
would
to
they-
landfill, and whoever's in charge of
Why
them
would
said,
the-
these
why
go
would-
here
Why would the
instead.
city send them out here?
Miscommunication. I mean, nobody suggested that they snuck them in under a load of dirt or
Oh.
anything, so,
All right. You'd throw them in the bottom of the dumpster.
no. No, it just seems like a load showed up on the scale, but once it's here, it gets treated as a
I got
rejected
you.
load.
Okay.
What is tipping of soil? Tipping,
Where's the reference?
working phase, second last line. Those 2 and 3.
Oh, the tip. Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the second paragraph. So that's the technical term we use in the landfill industry for when we dump garbage. We call it tipping. Sorry, I figured that's what it was, but I was worried that maybe I defined something as a tipping soil. So for the longest time, phase 2 and 3 have only served to receive soils, and they stopped using them almost at the end of the year because things filled up and they needed a lot of the soil that's been coming in, instead of being biossoil, has been soil suitable for using for cover. And if they got the cover soil coming in, they don't have to use the equipment to move the soils they have around. Pretty accurate?
Yeah, so you tip it close to the active area.
Yeah. Like if we did our tour today and you went down there, there are several piles of soil tipped at the bottom of the working face that they're going to push up and over the garbage for cover. So 1, it gets distributed by the truck that brought it in, and 2, you charged how much?
But it depends on the project.
Okay, they charge so much per ton for that to come in, so it serves 2 purposes. It's income, and they can get it right to where they need it without having to use the excavator and the haul truck to get it there.
Anything else? Status of projects. Clay extraction, I assume none is going on right now?
No, none, shouldn't have any for really a couple years.
Well, you're gonna have some backhauls, aren't you?
Potentially, those are, who knows? But as of right now, we got a lot of phone calls early on in the year about people saying they wanted them in a hurry, and haven't had anything appear or show up since then, so. Who knows if they're actually gonna come and get any. But yeah, there's a potential for projects to come in, but as of right now, we haven't been notified of any.
Okay. And if they do, where are they gonna be hauling out of? Front Main right here? Or are they gonna be hauling out of the construction?
We try and ask them all to go use a construction entrance so they don't interfere with our incoming traffic using the scales. So it depends on, a lot of times when they do backhauls, they'll do it in conjunction with the project they're bringing in. So they'll bring the soil in across the scale, and then they'll leave via the construction gates if they have that tear weight already, so.
Who's monitoring the construction gate? How is that managed?
Well, when we hire, or not hire them, when we have them worked out who's doing it, with me or Mike, someone opens the gate for them in the morning, and then we keep an eye on it throughout the day and close it at the end of the day.
Okay. Does that one have a camera on it by any chance?
Not at this time.
Might be something you might want to consider.
I believe we've talked about it before, but I don't think it's gone much beyond that stage as of right now.
What's the reasoning for that?
Because it's an unmanned position that's, other than the one or two trucks that may go out from time to time,
Yeah,
it's wide open
yeah,
for anyone to bring
yeah,
things in that shouldn't be.
like?
Garbage?
Garbage, rejected
You
load.
have a problem with people sneaking in the back door?
Well, we would prefer that they didn't.
You don't have them do that, do you?
No, no, no one does.
But there's a state statute that says that if they have a gate unlocked, it should be manned. But it's a performance standard, so it's not, what is the definition of manned? Does a camera work? In the past, when it was left open and they had Phase 5 active, the argument was that their equipment operators were aware enough to see the gate. It hasn't come up lately, but I mean, it is a requirement that it should be manned. It's up to the committee to decide what that is in terms of, asking the landfill to do the work. I think a camera on one of the wheels, so you can just rotate it around up the trailer would be perfect.
Whatever.
Household hazardous waste.
So, we're doing good. Obviously, we only have January and February because March is just wrapped up and so we don't have all the data and invoices yet. So I just gave you, what you guys wanted was a summary sheet. So if you want the actual, all the data on the back, I can do them in the future, but it seemed like that was something not desired. And so, and I also threw in a couple nice graphs for you for historical and then current year to make it a little bit more user friendly. Like I said, right now we're looking fine. Obviously participation looks down substantially because of it's minus 30%, but we only have 2 months in. So I'm not worried. Usually the year starts off slow anyways, and that's a good thing for us, and especially with those closers in the January timeframe. So we're sitting in a good spot right now. I hope to keeping it steady, stay within budget, and I'll keep updating this so that every time when we meet again, the bottom will fill out and we'll have the annual summary on the bottom, just to keep you guys posted on that.
I do have something to add. I don't know if it's universal now, but I do know that the Menards in Franklin is now accepting CFO bulbs.
They have for a little while, and some of the hardware stores do it. I would call ahead because they are individual. Some stores will take some won't, and so it is kind of hard to keep up with them. A surefire place is batteries plus bulbs. They take them, it's a fee though. So if you can find somewhere to take them for free, definitely,
The Menards down here stopped for a long time,
Right.
they used to, but they just started recently, and I brought in a slug of them.
Yeah.
The only concern was, did I have some that were less than the 3 or 5 year warranty? Did I want replacements?
That's good. I mean, the problem we have with some of that is that for a while they'll take them, but then if they get inundated, they'll change their policy, but don't let anybody know. And so, things can come quickly outdated. So we go to a place that we know for certain. We do offer people, call your local hardware stores. There may be free options in your local communities. I know for a fact. So we actually push everybody to batteries plus bulbs and then encourage them to call around.
They charge.
They do charge, yep. But we know that they'll accept them. They'll accept any size from anyone. We don't have to worry about it. If people complain, we do say you can take them to the HHW site, but we really try to push people to manage their own materials to privately operated businesses that will manage that for them. So, but yeah, thank you for letting us know. I'll definitely add that information.
I don't know if it's a corporate policy now, but I'm guessing you could give them a call and find out.
What we really need to find is somebody who will take propane tanks in large quantities and recycle those. So,
Really?
yeah, propane tanks is one of our biggest contaminants. Bulbs, we just want to save money on the HHW program, so it's great if we can
Sure.
get people to use other avenues. The propane tanks are actually a huge hazard. I mean, I'm sure it's for you guys as well. Our haulers, the MRF operators, the landfill operators, very dangerous. Well, we had 7 fires over the past 2 years, 4 of them directly attributable to blow up propane canisters in our balers.
Okay, now you're obviously not talking the 10-pound, 20-pound cylinders, you're talking the little ones.
The 1-pounders, yeah.
The little ones you buy in the hardware
Yep.
store.
So, outside of the realm of what we're doing, so we can get back on track, but just as you're out, eyes and ears on the ground, it's, we're looking for corporate people to take that on as a product stewardship, corporate initiative for sustainability. So,
Those little green monsters you're talking about.
Yeah, like you put on a little travel clothes.
Coleman,
Your tailgate
Campbell,
Huh?
Your tailgating grills.
Yeah.
Tailgate, there you go,
Yeah.
tailgate.
ooh, maybe the brewers would
There you go.
co-sponsor
You
a
could get them to
recycling
do it.
program.
And what do you do with them? Besides bury them?
Well,
no,
you
you-
can't, no, they're perfectly recyclable.
Yeah.
They just need to be decompressed first.
Completely empty.
So Waukesha Iron will take them and do it, but there's a cost for them to manage it. There are several places,
Yeah.
but most of them charge a fee, even though nominal, $1 to $2 a can.
What does, like, say, Milwaukee Brewers, if they end up with 150 of those on a game day, what do they do with them?
Well, hopefully they would go to the nearest recycler, so there's 2 in Milwaukee County that they would be able to go to. Although, what's probably happening is that the consumers and the ballpark, what's the word I'm looking for? Attendees are just dumping it in the recycling containers, and then their haulers coming and dumping that into their big compacting truck, and then they're compacting it, and then
Boom.
You have a fire.
boom there, or boom where we are, or boom here.
I've
So,
tried to make those things go boom, I have brought 30, 40 of them up to camp, and put them on the target range.
well,
I don't care what you shoot them with.
get a $500,000 compactor, and that sucker will go boom.
You shoot them and they don't go boom?
No, I've shot them with regular lead, but jacketed, steel bullets,
It doesn't penetrate. is what
oh
you-
sure it
Oh,
does.
but they don't blow
goes
up?
right through them.
Goes right through 'em. No, none of them go boom.
There's a new rig, and I was looking to see if I could Google it, because it's not in the email on my phone.
We really got
But it's a,
That's noble.
you put it in, they screw on a fitting, it extracts the gas, it crushes the can, so you reuse the propane and it sends the rest off to recycling. And in a couple different states, the state owns it, Arizona is one, Colorado is another, and they just drive around to the parks. And they spend so many days at each park, collect it out of the waste stream where it's been set aside, and run it and so on, and then turn around and sell it back as clean propane.
Sure.
I can pull up that when
The
I sit down
county
at my
was-
computer and send it to you.
The county and our MRF operator were able to get a contract. What we need though is something for residential. It's the same thing with a lot of these other things. We need something convenient, low cost or no cost
Right.
for residents. We need it hub and spoke. People don't want to drive to Milwaukee County to dispose of their propane tanks, so.
Okay. Send me that information, Joe.
Sure.
I'd like to see what it is.
Is there a Lacking and Joy still in Waukesha?
Mhm.
Because they take it.
Brookfield.
Yeah, they'll take that back. But that's the only place, yeah, the cylinders.
You would think that the manufacturer of that cylinder would have a way of putting a valve on there to where you could open it up and just empty it out.
Well, Coleman's clever. They have somebody else charge them so that they're not responsible for it. It's a unique waste idea. If they're not the ones who charge it with the gas, they're not the ones responsible after the effect. So Coleman has theirs charged by a third party. It's not even a contract. They sell the canisters. So they get away from trying to figure out a better way to do it simply by making it not their problem.
It's honestly, it's not a cumbersome process to decompress them, but when you get thousands of them, it's time consuming. So it is not a difficult process.
Well, yeah, I would say that's no problem at all to compress or to
Decompress them. It's just-
recycle
it's
it, but it's the
quantity.
problem. And the problem is that one that's gonna boom, go boom,
Right.
you know?
Well, but it's quantity too. Most of these businesses that are set up for it don't want a huge repertoire of residents coming and just dumping all of their
Yeah.
stuff. And they're gonna get other stuff that they don't want, and so
How many
it's,
can it be?
it is a
Can
product
use one of
stewardship
those things
situation,
about 4 times.
where the manufacturers need to be
There's
responsible.
one of those
for
canisters that
the
might go, I
rate
would probably use it
of
4
scenario.
times in a ballpark.
Like the plastic bags.
Time in and out.
Excuse me.
You
I
knew
mean,
I
help.
was gonna throw that up there. Sorry, go
Am I
ahead.
right?
Treatment of the corrosive materials, why is that so?
All you do is time in and out.
That would help.
They go for
We must have had more during the month. I mean, that's the thing, is it's really difficult for me to drill down much further into this besides
You educate
doing a
people.
year-over-year comparison. And if I called them, they'd just say, we had a lot more corrosives than we expected over the past 2 months. So, you know, unless we were good to get all of their manifests, which even
What
if
is
we
it,
did,
what are you considering corrosives?
that's another question that I would want to specify with them of what they're considering corrosives. So,
Cause yeah, that number's pretty crazy and all this.
well, I mean, it's crazy because it says 111%, but it's $500. You know, again, when we
It's
level
really
this out
small,
over the next
percentage-wise,
10 months, yeah.
Gotcha.
Harvey, when we did the audit, corrosives isn't like the paint where it's the same process every time. So if the corrosive is muriatic acid, they have one means of getting rid of it. If the corrosive is, you know, 2 things of liquid plumber nobody bothered to use completely, it's a different treatment. So the price isn't consistent either, like it is per pound on a lot of the other things.
Sure.
Very good, thank you, Jeff. That's a good clarification.
Anything else on household hazardous waste?
Is this better for the report that you guys want to
Yes.
see? Do you want all the data on the back still?
This
like
is
the
fine to me.
previous
Oh,
report?
that works, that's
Okay,
fine.
Kind of,
Start putting too much on the back, it's gonna be littler print and I'll have a real hard time reading it.
I was thinking of you the whole time.
Thank you. My arms are still long enough for this.
MMSD project. Yep.
It's pretty much going steady right now. We've been delivering pretty consistently, haven't made any updates recently with it since those H2S tanks, which was late last year, early this year. And we're looking at making some electrical grades to it this year just to reduce our electrical consumption charges. It's by basically purchasing equipment from We Energies rather than renting it.
Oh,
Stuff like that. So outside of that, not really a whole lot of other planned changes to the gas plant. We're delivering pretty steadily right now.
okay, so it's not an issue of using less electricity, it's
No,
a
it's
issue
instead
of
of
managing
renting.
your assets.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Very good. Electronic recycling?
It's going good on our end. The third-party vendor's been picking it up regularly for us. We haven't had any issues that I've noticed of it overflowing or having, not enough room recently. So on our end, it's been fine.
Okay. Are there any complaints from the vendor about?
Not that I've been told.
Okay.
I talk to Julianne regularly enough about it, and I don't. They've never really complained to us about anything over there. So
Okay. Residential drop-off?
well, that the new design or plan was approved by the Plan Commission recently. Outside of that, we haven't really moved forward with much on it since then. Tyler's been working with Mike on it.
Soliciting quotes from contractors to have the work completed this
Yeah.
summer.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an actual schedule for it yet, but
Well testing, well water protection, no issues?
no issues.
Okay. Plan mods?
I don't believe we've had any recently, have we? Tim?
No, none recently and none.
Not
at
planned.
this point.
When we talk about plan mods, it's, since the last meeting, so we just run meeting to meeting.
Yeah, nothing since January.
Okay? Property protection, sociological, same thing?
Don't believe there's any issues with sociological that we've heard of, and we haven't received any notices of any new homes recently in the property protection.
Questions, comments? Other business, review payments made from the committee funds. There's a sheet attached. Couple of them. Questions, comments? Confirm the next meeting date. July 9th, 4 PM for the annual tour. The meeting's at 5. Communications and any other business is authorized by law. Citizen commentary, nothing, we have none. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 5:56 PM.